Hi, I'm Randy Attwood. I'm a Kansas City author, and my Kickstarter project is I want to take this manuscript, which is a 10,000 word novella called The Saltness of Time, and I want to turn it into a print book, but a print book that's done the old-fashioned way on a letterpress. And we're here at the studio of the Kansas City artist Nick Naughton. His studio's in the Crossroads section here in Kansas City. Nick is a wonderful artist and a printmaker. He teaches at the Kansas City Art Institute, and he's agreed to help me with this project and not only do the printing of the book, but also provide some etchings to illustrate scenes in the book. So let's go see Nick. Hi, Nick.
Hey there, Randy.
I wonder if you could take a little time and explain what the letterpress process is and how it works.
Well, sure. Letterpress is basically one of the oldest forms of printing, but it was made for doing mass production. And so what we've got is a machine. This machine is about 60 years old or so, and you can run like all the old types of things, like old like letters and lead type. But what we're going to do for your project is probably do custom polymer plates. And so we're going to make custom plate work for each one of your books, and essentially you can just run off, once you set up one image or one set of a page, like you can just print like dozens of them at a time or hundreds, so I think what we'll end up with your project is we'll pick out the paper, we'll put the paper in, we'll feed it through the machine, and then run off page by page full editions. So
can you show us how this works?
Sure.
Once you have the sheets of paper printed on the letterpress, they need to be bound together into a book. We're lucky in Kansas City we still have a bindery. Engel Bindery started in 1885, and we're going to go over and talk to David about his binding process. Waiting to talk to owner David Haney, we heard his end of a phone conversation in which he said, if they didn't do it in 1885, we don't do it now. He took us to the second floor of his building where the work to stitch and create hardback book covers is done. He'll be using this machine for the kind of stitching we decided to use for the Saltness of Time. It's called Smythe stitching or binding, and is the kind of stitching done on the finest books. This antique machine I'm standing behind is a book press. It can exert hundreds of pounds of pressure on stacks of books when their covers are glued in. This machine is a C-bolt cutter that is used like a guillotine to cut the hard cardboard for a book's cover. For safety reasons, to make sure you don't have a hand near that blade, the operator has to press two buttons at the same time that are a yard apart. I don't want to do a letterpress project because I've rejected the digital age. After all, I've got 14 works and more to come, digitally published, but we should never lose sight of our publishing roots. The aesthetic of the printed book via letterpress is just unmatched. The tactile quality of the pages and the look of the type on the page. One of the goals of this project is not only to produce the book, but to video the steps in that process. Donors at the highest level will receive not only a signed, numbered copy of the limited edition print run, but also a DVD showing how the book in their hands came into being. The Saltness of Time is the perfect piece of writing for this project. One reviewer summed up its story this way: travelers stranded in an old hotel by a snowstorm on the Kansas prairie hear a tale from a stranger about a night spent years before in a similar storm. Attwood tells a story within a story, both a compelling portrait of life on the prairie many years ago and a mystery that keeps the reader guessing until the last page. Another reviewer called The Saltness of Time beautifully evocative. This is a story you'll want to savor and reread. What better way to read and reread this story than on the beautiful printed page?